about our past, right? Our histories. The Mughal Empire, the period of Mughal Empire, Delhi Sultanates, etc. So we know that our past and how the new kingdoms and new empires are emerged and what happened about their administration and political structure and also the economical structure of India. Right? Yes. So in this chapter we are going to deal with what happened in 18th century in our history. That means Indian history. What are the changes are required in the 18th century and what kind of political formation are done in that way? And what happened the major empires or new kingdoms? Okay, so we discussed about our past chapter or our previous chapter, the Mughal empires, and we also said that after the 17th century, the Mughal empires completely collapsed, right? Yes, and what was the reason for that collapse of decline of Mughal empires in that particular period? Because any other kind of kingdoms are adapted to Mughals. One we can say that after the rulership of Aurangzeb, its Mughal empires starting declining. It's weak. The Mughal empires completely weak in the form of army and political and absolutely in economical way. So that is also badly affected for their ruling capacity. And the Mongols also adapt Mughals and new independent states also create a huge problem with Mughal empires. Okay, so in our chapter we are discussing about what happened after the Mughals period in our subcontinent. So your chapter this chapter start with a map. Look at your textbook, page number 138. Right, 138 is showing one map, and that map is particularly show that what was the difference between the past Mughals empire boundaries and the half of the starting of 18th century. What was the difference? Look at your map, look at your textbook. That shows how the boundaries of the Mughal empires were reshaped. It's actually the map shows that the power of some cities or some major parts of Indian subcontinent is completely used. The Mughals completely lose their power. Because of what? The emergence of new independent kingdoms. How they start or how new independent kingdoms are emerged. That was we discussed in this chapter. Okay, we can say that most of the places like Jaipur and Gujarat, Gwalior, Agra, Lucknow, it's actually the shape of that map is completely different from their past. That creates a new change in our history. And another most thing that by 1765, we know that in Mughals empire or the Mughal period, we also studied about the presence of Britishers and the foreign traders. That means the traders. They are wanted to trade in our country. So most of the Britishers and Arabs, Persians also wanted to trade with our country because we have that much of natural resources, spices, cotton, etc. So they are also impressed with them. So we also discussed about the presence of Britishers in Mughals period. By 1765, it's also the most important power. British become the most important power in our country. That was the starting point of British ruling. We can say that while they wanted to trade, so in the form of trade or in the name of trade, they started to apply their military and economical and political power. That's also create a new change in our history. And also the next page 137 is also show a map. That map is showing what the British India and what was the places are controlled by the Britishers and what was the places are major or most important trade centers in that particular period. Okay. So by 17 places are captured, or the British was successfully covered that eastern country, so eastern part of India. That is also a huge change of the beginning of 18th century in our country. That's also created new political form. What kind of form? That in before the 18th century, we are familiar with a rulership like a king or kingship, right? So Mughal empires, they have a king or we have a king. So the ruler, Mughal, the king and the ministers, and we have know that the words some what kind of zamindars, mansabdars, iktas, that kinds of words are we are familiar with in our previous chapter. Okay, so we are familiar with that kind of administration or political situation before 18th century. But the starting of 18th century, it's having huge change. Because of what? The decline of Mughal empires and the formation of new independent kingdoms. At the same time, in 1765, the power of Britishers also started their political activities in our country or most of the eastern part of India. Okay. And we also discussed about the condition of Britishers and declining of Mughals empires. And we also discussed about the reason because Aurangzeb was we can say that Aurangzeb was the last powerful leader in Mughal empires. After his death in 1707, and many new states emerged in India. So after in 1707, that means after or with Aurangzeb's death in 1707, the new independent states or new independent kingdoms are formed in our country. New independent states are formed in our country. That was a huge change for our history. So that also creates a new political formation. That means a new political, new kind of administration structure in our country. Okay. So the very first concept in this chapter, that is the crisis of the empire and the later Mughals. What was the crisis? What was the problems are faced the Mughals empires and last Mughals empires? How was the situation for the last Mughals, and that kinds of information we get this concept. Okay, so let's check. The crisis of the empire and the later Mughals. And what? The later Mughals. So what was the crisis faces in the empires and the later Mughals? Okay, so we know that Mughal empires and started declining under the period of Aurangzeb. We also discussed about in our previous chapter. That means the declining of Mughal empires actually started in the period of whose Aurangzeb. So we can say during the Aurangzeb period or on the period of Aurangzeb, what happened? The Mughal empire started declining in political ways and economical ways, and also because of the military forces lose their power. That was the main reason. So this because we can say his military and religious policy which actually affected for the declining of Mughals, empires, and financial resources also falling down, and that is also creates the economic crisis. We know that the Mughals also wanted to expand their kingdom, and also they used their military forces, right? So we also discussed about the fortified cities and also discussed that kinds of knowledge or information about our previous class. And the Mughals also wanted to give more importance for their military forces, and also they create new taxes and new kinds of revenue systems for the development of these kinds of militaries. That means the army forces. And actually the collection of taxes when declined because of the new policies of Aurangzeb. That is also badly affected the growth of Mughal empire. That is create a decline phase of Mughals empire. So we can say that Mughals empire declining in the period of Aurangzeb because of what? Because of his revenue and religious policies. Who's Aurangzeb? So what are the reasons for declining the Mughals empire? The reasons are we can say that was the causes of declining the Mughals empire. What was that? And during whose period? During Aurangzeb. During Aurangzeb period, it started declining. Mughal empire started declining. Because of what? Because of his Aurangzeb's or because of his what? His political. That means the revenue ways or the revenue. His revenue and religious policies. His revenue and religious policies. That is the main cause of the declining of Mughal empires. Clear? So whose period? The Aurangzeb. During Aurangzeb's period, Mughal empire started declining because of his revenue and what? Religious policies, and also it's create his military policies. His revenues and religious policies including the military. He creates a new military system. Military policies also create the falling down of the Mughal empires. So what was the reason? The Aurangzeb's revenue, religious and military policies are the main reason for the declining of what? Mughals empire. And after his death, he has a successor, and under his successor, the efficiency of the what? The administration was loose. The efficiency. After his death, there is no efficient administration system, and also the military forces or military system also collapsed, and that has also created a huge problem from the Mughals empires. Okay, so after his death, his successor. Under his successors, the efficiency of military was loose or administration broken down. It became difficult to check governance. That is, in a proper, we know that under the Mughals, there were a lot of governors and officers, mansabdars there to administrate local levels, and these mansabdars are collected taxes from the peasants, right? We also discussed about that in our previous chapter. And that's also under what was the result of that? The governors and mansabdars collect more taxes for their own profit. That is also create a huge loss of revenue for Mughals. That is also created reason for the declining of Mughal empires. And after this death, his successors do not have a efficient administration for the checking or for the check of governors and mansabdars. That's also one of the reasons for the declining of Mughals emperors. And we know that the Nadir Shah's invention in 1739 that is also badly affected Mughal emperors. What was that? And we know that in the 17th century the Mughal emperors started to decline, and the starting of 18th century lot of inventions battles are faced this Mughal empires. That is also created because their poor condition of political and economical structure, and the main reason the improper military system or the weak military also create a powerful defeat or powerful loss of Mughals. In 1739, the invention of whose Nadir Shah. The invention of Nadir Shah. Nadir Shah. The invention of Nadir Shah. In 1739, the invention of Nadir Shah of Afghan ruler. He was an Afghan ruler. Then we know that the condition of 17th century. We also discussed about our previous class. The Afghans also wanted to attack Mughals, and they did that. And they also we have the Mughals in invention, and these kinds of Afghans and also create a huge problem of with Mughals. That is also create a downfall of Mughal emperors. Okay, so the invention of Nadir Shah was the Afghan ruler. Afghan rulers and Ahmad Shah Abdali between in the year 1748 to 1769. So in between the years 1748 to 1761, who attacked? This means between 1748 and 1761, who attacked Mughals? Who? Ahmad Shah Abdali. Ahmad Abdali also attacked Mughals empire. These kinds of invention also create a huge because of this kinds of invention also badly affect Mughal empires. Because of this kinds of invention or battles create a weakness or weak point of Mughals. The Mughals become falling down after this because of the poor military, because they lose their power. The military system was collapsed after the death of Aurangzeb. Okay, so because he created new military policy, that is also badly affected the power of military and the formation of military. And actually, based on that policy, military lose their force and also they lose their power. Because of that, the lot of other neighbor, that means other countries, other kingdoms also attacked the Mughals. Which was the most important invention in 1739, the invention of Nadir Shah. Nadir Shah is one of the Afghan ruler. He also attacked the Mughals. That has also created huge defeat of Mughals, and in between the years 1748 to 1761, the Ahmad Shah Abdali is also invented or started a battle with Mughals. That is also create what the weakens the Mughals empire. That is also created within the Mughal empire. Okay, so what was the next crisis? What was the next crisis or phases in the Mughal empire and the later Mughals? What was that? Yeah, the nobility was divided into two major groups, Iranis and Tuanis. The nobles, what was the noble? We know that. What is the noble? The kind of group of people, they are with kind of powers. That kinds of persons or groups of people are known as nobles. So the nobility, we know that each and every kingdom have a noble power, right? Yes, the nobility was divided into two major groups, which was that Iranis and what? Tuanis. Iranis and Tuanis, that are the what major groups, noble groups of in the period of 18th century. So that was the another reason. What was that? The noble or nobility. The nobility divided into two groups, two major groups divided two major groups. Which was that? First one that is Iranis. Second one that is Tuanis or Turanis. Not Tuanis, it's Turanis. Iranis and Turanis. Iranis and Turanis are the most important major groups of nobility. So the nobility divided into two major groups, Iranis and Turanis. This is also create what? For the independent new states. So for a long time, the later Mughal empires were the puppets of these two kinds of major groups. We know that after the inventions, after the battles, Mughals loses their power, and after what happened, the later Mughals rulers kind of a puppet of these kinds of major groups. So what was the reason? Because they loses their power due to the what? Aurangzeb military policies, religious policies, and the revenue policies. Okay, so it's also create a huge difficulty to rule that empire. After the death of Aurangzeb, his successors also faces the inability of proper administration and what that is also create the growth of governors and mansabdars. They are created their own profit from the taxes. That is also badly affected how the kingdom, the empire or the Mughals empires do not get enough revenue. That is also create economical downfall of Mughals. These kinds of matters also affected a proper ruling system under Mughals. In 14s and 1760s, this also faces lot of inventions and battles. That is also create completely lose their powers. Who's Mughals? Okay. So after this, the division of nobility, that means the Iranis and Turanis, they are also become the more important powers in our subcontinent. Actually, the later Mughals completely in the form of a puppet. That means they do not have enough powers. They do not have the right to rule. Most of the other kingdoms or other major powers are ruled Mughals, and Mughals also that kinds of what like Mughals. Actually, after the death of Aurangzeb, the later Mughals also completely lose their powers, and they likely puppet in the head of either one or the other of two powerful groups. Maybe Iranis also rule Mughals, or Turanis also rule Mughals. That's Mughals, that the group, the power of that group, Mughals empires, completely collapsed. And later Mughals like a puppet for whose, maybe the Iranis or Turanis. One of these groups also have a major power for later Mughals. This was actually happened in the period of 18th century, the starting of 18th centuries. That means we can say after 18th century there is no Mughal empires. That means it's completely collapsed. It's completely collapsed. Okay. And your textbook page number 114 and 141, there is the boxes like rich harvest and empty coffers. That one of also shows that what happened in the culture and economical structure under the period of Mughals in the starting point of 18th century. And the Nadir Shah's attack in Delhi, that is also, we also discussed about what happened Nadir Shah, that is one of the Afghan ruler. There is a picture also, figure number 1, that is also a painting or a 7079 portion of Nadir Shah. That is a picture of Nadir Shah. And what happened? We know that he attacked Delhi in the year of 17, which year? In the 1739. That's also created huge change for Mughals. Okay. So this was actually happened. So this was actually made the crisis of empires and the later Mughals. Okay. Okay, one more time we discussed about it. 18th century, the political formation. So what happened in 18th century in our country? That's what we discussed in this time. Okay, so what happened? Yeah, yes. After the declining of Mughals empire, the new independent states or kingdoms are emergent. That also created a huge change of our history. And the next another power, the other power, that is British. Also the presence of British, and the Britishers also successfully ruled some eastern countries. That means eastern part of India. They successfully captured the chunks of militaries or captured major chunks of territories in eastern India. They started their ruling activities in eastern India in the starting point of 18th century. Okay, so we know, when we want to know that how British started their ruling power in India. So that is also started in the century, 18th century, because the declining of Mughal empires. And we also discussed about what was the crisis are affected, or the crisis are for the Mughal empires and the later Mughals. And we discussed about what was the first one. We discussed about what happened to the Aurangzeb period. We know that after the death of Aurangzeb, it also created huge changes in Mughal empire. And during his period, he implemented a military policy and a religious policy that is also badly affected for Mughals. That means the military policies also badly affected the military system of Mughals, and the religious policy. The people do not accept that kind of a religious policy. That is also created a huge change. And the revenue, the economical downfall also faces Mughals during Aurangzeb's period. And after his death, under his successor, they also faced a problem, that is the improper administration system. We know that in the period of Mughals, they have governors, mansabdars and other kind of officers. because the administration of local level. Local administration was possible by the Mansabdars. So the Mansabdars also wanted to collect the taxes, and Siktas, Equator, we also discussed about in our previous chapter. And because of this improper administration, the Mansabdars governors also collected the taxes for their own profit. So they create a economical downfall for Mughals. How the Mughals empire do not get enough revenue from the peasants or taxes. They do not get that taxes. That is also create a downfall of economical structure, and that is also create a downfall or decline of Mughals. What was the next crisis? These are the two crises we discussed. And what was the next one? The invention of other kingdoms. That is also create a change. That is also a reason for the declining of Mughals. What was one in 1739? The Nadir Shah's attack in Delhi, right? Nadir Shah, one of the Afghan ruler, he also attacked Delhi. That is badly affected Mughals. For Mughals, what happened? Because we also said that because of that military and religious policies, that is the Mughals uses the power of military system. That is also create a huge problem in their administration and their ruling power, ruling capacity. And the next, between the year of 1748 to 1761, the next invention was started, whose the Ahmad Shah Abdali also attacked Mughals. That is also a bad impact of Mughals. And the next reason, what is the next reason or cause of the crisis the Mughals faced? That is the nobility divided into two major groups, Iranis and Turanis. Actually, the Iranis and Turanis become the more powerful groups in that particular period. And actually, what happened then? The Mughals also like a puppet for these two groups. These two groups are what ruled the Mughals. That was happened. That was actually happened the later Mughals. Okay, this was the major crisis actually happened in 18th century, the starting of the half of the 18th century. Okay, so the next concept, that is emergences of new states. Emergences of new states. And that we will discuss in our next class. So just start that, we will start about that. What we already told that what happened, the declining of Mughals empires because of the emergence of new independent states, right? New independent states. That's also the declining. That is one of the reasons for the declining of Mughals. And actually, and in background there is other reasons. After the declining of Mughal, their Mughals lose their power some areas or some major cities, some important towns. We can say that some important region. In that regions also became the independent new states. Independent new states like what? For example, we can say that the other Bengal, Awadh, Hyderabad, one of the examples of what? The new states. Okay, so the next class we will discuss about emergences of new states like Awadh, Hyderabad and Bengal. Okay, Awadh, Hyderabad, Bengal. Okay, so the most important new states, which are the new states? That means the Awadh, Bengal and Hyderabad. These are the most important new states emergence in the period of 18th century. Okay, so read your text carefully. that discussed about the rich harvest and Hmcs officers. That means the agriculture and political administration structure for Mughals during the period of 18, starting the period of 18th century, and the attack of Nadir Shah's attacks in Delhi. That is also wanted to read that because it may be included in your tech exams. Okay, so this is for today. So read your text carefully. Let's wind up our class. Take care.